random.
Right.
It's really random, but
Just average, right? Like, what a good month and a
I
bad
could I
month,
could
right?
probably tell you how much I made this month. I
Right.
can't really I didn't do the numbers or count anything because like
Right.
some months will be slow, some months will be busy.
Right. Right.
But I could tell you how much I made this month. So we're about like we're in the 16th now this month. I've shot about I've shot a few videos this month. I think I made about not this month was like kind of like a moderate month. I'll say that I made about like 3,000 this month.
Okay.
Yeah,
And a month of October.
of October. Yeah,
I mean, you still got 2 weeks, So it's
yeah,
like that's
but
good.
it's not promised that I'll get
Right.
more
Right. Right.
videos throughout the week. So,
Right. Right. Right.
but but I feel like I make it. I don't make like a constant amount, like a for sure amount, like
Right.
mechanic work. Like sometimes I'll be super booked, sometimes I won't.
Right. Because this changes, right? Like
Yeah,
some,
because it changes.
customers and
Yeah,
once the videos are done, then you come back, so you have better months,
yeah,
better
yeah.
years.
But like most times I actually make a little bit less than the mechanic work did.
Right.
But I feel like it's fine because like I'm not doing as much work. I'm not
Right.
even putting the same amount of hours at
Hours.
all. Like I'm putting in probably, so I'll probably put in like 60 hours a week as a mechanic,
Mm-hmm.
and then as a videographer I'll put in about like maybe like 30.
Wow. So it's half,
Yeah,
So it's
like
like
half, and then
so
but I'm,
maybe it's a little bit less, but the hours, right? I mean,
yeah,
free time, which we all value, and you can you have the ability then to either make more videos or pursue something else or income. Then it's much
yeah,
different, right?
basically,
And also happiness, right? Because it's like I always tell people, right? You know, don't think success is measured by how much money you have, right? There's different levels of success, right? Which is happiness, maybe income, but also freedom, depth, right?
yeah,
Because you can make all the money in the world, but if you're in debt for more than that, then what's the point of making all that money,
yeah,
right? I'd rather see somebody that's earning okay money but has zero debts, or like you said, working 30 hours a week when you have all this free time that you can spend it on yourself, family, friends, where it's healthy, right?
yeah,
Then like being a mechanic, you're just basically slaving away little by little,
yeah,
right?
basically,
And it's like you feel sort of like in somewhat of a prison,
yeah. So
but
just to say,
you yourself let yourself get into this prison, right?
yeah. So to say that, like, I would say that like mechanic work did make me more money, and at my point in my career right now, because I know I make more money the further I get into my
Right.
video career, because I'm considered like a baby when it comes to the video
Right.
career thing. Like I'm less than 3 years in, you know. So I would say the people who have gotten super successful and stuff in Tennessee, at least, because that's the only people that I can really refer my knowledge to.
Right.
It took them at least 5 years of experience, a professional experience, to become really well off, to
Right.
where they can feel like they made it type deal.
Yeah, because you're in an industry that what sells is your name, right? And so it takes
Yeah.
time for your name, right?
Yeah.
To establish itself.
But it's not
and
just
grow.
name. Like people realize, like you gotta realize that there's some people that are like just like super talented off the rip at something, right? Like let's say like for pro gaming, for example,
Right.
pro gaming is a sport now and people make millions off of it. So let's say there's like a 16-year-old and he's a prodigy at like Apex or something,
Right. Right.
and he's just like he's a monster and he's making millions of dollars
Straight off the back,
yeah,
right? Like quick. Because
and that's not an unheard of story in
No.
gaming. There's plenty of teenagers that make plenty of money.
Right.
But to say that, what I'm trying to make a point out of is that with videos, it doesn't matter how talented you are off the rip. You can't make a lot of money unless you get experience,
Right.
because there's a few things you have to check off, like a portfolio. You gotta make relationships with people. You have to kind of just know how to do things, and you can't do that off of just talent with
Right.
videos.
It's something you learn.
Yeah, it's something you learn off of doing them. Because
Yeah.
like I remember when I first started, I was studying for about months. I was studying for months
Right.
before I just started doing professionally. When I was just doing it as a hobby, I started studying for months because I was like, I'm gonna do this professionally. I'm like, because I saw people doing music videos. I was like, man, I can do it way better than these motherfuckers.
Right.
And so I was studying for months, and then like when I got actually to the field, like and with a camera in my hand, I was like, oh, I don't know what to do.
Right.
Like I know what kind of shots and how I want them to look. I just don't know how to get them to look that way.
Right.
So it takes a lot of experience just to even make money and as a video guy, and that's why there's plenty of people that do it, but not a lot of people that make a lot of money off of it.
Because you gotta work as you go, right? And it's like every video gets better, right? But every video you learn something, right?
Yeah, basically.
So it's just like you said, it's another video in the portfolio, right?
Yeah.
And so each video, the way I see it is, the task or the job that came before, what you didn't like about it, and what could you sort of improve, right? And every single video you get better, right?
Yeah.
Or every single job, right, or task, the more you do it, the more it comes naturally. And also, I mean, like you said, more videos make, so your name's gonna get spread out, and your portfolio starts growing, and through your previous jobs, that word of mouth starts, getting also bigger, right?
Yeah, for sure. I honestly think that like video, even if you love doing video, it's not for everybody to do it, because like it takes a lot of hustle. Like when I was originally doing video to get some money in, I had to still work the mechanic job. So not only was I working 5 to 6 days a week, my only off day was to do videos.
Right.
And then when I got off of work, I had to edit. Like it was just. It takes a lot of grind unless you live with your parents and stuff and you don't have to pay nothing, then start your video career and try to do it while you can, while you're still with your parents. But if you're living by yourself and you gotta,
it's gonna take double the effort.
It's gonna take double the effort basically.
Because you still, you're barely starting off. Income's not as great, so you still need the other income to like sustain.
Yeah,
right? And it's almost like you're working 2 jobs, right? Until you feel like you're more on the ground and you're more, you can start sort of slowly stepping away from the other job, right?
Yeah, basically. And I had to do that for a while.
One's by force, one's by choice, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, I totally understand that, like it's hard, especially when you're going into something and the income isn't the same, or, you still sort of have to continue working. Because like you said, living by yourself or having responsibilities or payments, that's, you just can't, those don't go away just because you decide to do something, right? To where it's like, oh, and then also, you can't just start off with $0, right? Because all this takes investment, right?
Yeah.
You have to buy all the equipment, everything, right? Down to the car, everything that I see here, a lot of this stuff, I couldn't tell you what it's called, but, everything has a price, name, and, I think it takes a good amount of effort, right?
Yeah, and people think that, like, shooting videos is free and stuff, but it's not actually free. Like, even though I have all the equipment already, I have all the software and stuff, like, first of all, the software costs money monthly, like Photoshop, everything, like it costs monthly to pay for that. And then there's my plugins that sometimes, some of them are also monthly. There's like a lot of things like software wise that are monthly payments. Okay. And then you have your hardware, right? Like your camera, you have your lights, you have your gimbal or whatever you're using. And those depreciate in value, because like if you're using these for work, if you're using these just for a hobby, depreciation doesn't matter because you probably don't plan on selling your camera or anything.
Right.
But if you're using this professionally, eventually you have to upgrade, right? Like 5 years down the line, I can't use the same camera. I'm gonna be lost in the sauce. Like people are gonna be outdoing me.
And you got to keep up with the trend.
I gotta keep up, with the latest and greatest, because that's just my job, is to have the best. So when I'm shooting things, like every time I use my camera, there's a lot of people don't notice, but there's such thing as like a shutter count and stuff. Mm-hmm. So every time you're taking a photo, like the camera counts how many photos is taken and etc. And once you've taken a photo, it goes up on the counter, and if you try to resell it, it's gonna worth less for every photo you take.
Wow.
Because reason being is because your camera has what's called a shutter, and a shutter flicks up and down, and your shutter can only flick up and down a certain amount of times before it breaks. And every camera has a different point to where it breaks. So that's why.
So it's like you have a number of like pictures, or like like it has an expiration.
Has an expiration date. Right. Yeah, basically. And people don't realize that. People think, oh, you know, it's free. You already have all that stuff, you know.
Right. It's gonna
Like
last
fuck
you
with me for the
forever.
cheap or fuck with me on the low,
Right.
whatever, you know.
And it's gonna last you
Like I
forever.
can't. Like I'm like literally losing money doing this for you, bro.
Right. No, yeah.
Yeah.
I get it, man. You know, a lot of people, um, and I don't know. I don't know what it is about like society that, you know, we don't ask for any discounts when you go to a normal, you know, store like Walmart, Target, you know, any like corporation, but yet, you know, friends, family, sometimes, you know, they see you have a business, and it's the very first thing. It's like, you know, give me a discount, you know, like hook me up, and I think it shouldn't be that way, because it's like it's a you know, they say like a mom and pop shop, right, or something
Yeah.
small. It's like a smaller business that, like, you know, it's growing, right? Like if all you do is give out discounts, the business doesn't grow, or you're
Yeah.
or reverse, right? You're taking losses. It's like it takes you so much longer, or maybe it's like a waste of time. But I don't know. I don't understand the way of people's thinking to where the very first thing that he want to ask like a friend or family that has a business or something is give me a discount. You know,
Yeah.
they do it for free, but you know they will never say that to like McDonald's, right? And that's
Yeah.
like something so cheap. And I'm like, you know, I think that way of living, right, is it's really messed up, right?
Yeah. It's not as respectful as people would think it is. Like people think like it's not a problem being like, oh, give me a discount or
Yeah. And then
this and that.
you look like the bad guy when you say no.
Yeah. Then I look like the bad
Like if
guy.
you're messed up, and it's, you know, this is your, you know, your livelihood, right? Where it's like, oh, you know, you're trying to make it, and you know all they want when I hear, you know, discount or free, it's like loss, right?
Yeah.
It's like, imagine like asking them to do what they do for free, right? It's
Yeah.
like, you know, like you said, if you don't have bills, it wouldn't matter. But you know, bills got to get paid, rent's got to get paid, all that. You know, your equipment's deteriorating with
Yeah.
doing so, and then they still look at you like the bad guy sometimes, man.
Yeah. Basically, like, because I'm doing this like, you know, full time and stuff, right? So this is my
Right.
main source of income, and if I can't make a main source of income type of income, then I have to turn it into a side income.
Right.
I have to get a different main source of income, and that means that I'm not really doing videos like that professionally. Well, it's still professional. It's just on like a side hustle type
Right.
of thing.
It's like a part time versus a
Yeah,
full time, right?
basically, and that just means that like people who come to me, they're not gonna get the best work
Right.
possible because I'm not doing it full time. I can't focus all my attention on videos or
Right.
photos or whatever, you know. And it's just a downhill spiral of like
Right.
the business. If I were to have to like pick up a full time job or something, you know.
Right. Sometimes it gets hard to juggle multiple things, right? And
Yeah.
especially with like a full time job, again, in a corporation or wherever it may be, you know, they don't care what you got going on, right? Like they're selfish in that sense. And I guess, you know, that's the corporate world or America, where it's like, you know, they don't care what you're doing outside. They don't care about any of that.
Yeah.
You know, all they care about is you coming to work. And you know, sometimes like for them, like that work comes first. Like that's your life. Like everything else is second or third. And that's just a horrible way to live. So
Yeah.
all right, you know, I hope you never revert back to that, right? And I was like, you continue doing what you love, and it's amazing with the work that you're doing, and you know, it's nice to see, again, like from a different point of view, you know, and in a whole other different, you know, career of
Yeah.
of you know, somebody, you know, a friend of mine doing, you know, chasing that entrepreneurship and having a company that's doing well, and you know, like you said, over time, hopefully, you know, it gets huge, and you become like these super famous, right? Like filmmakers, where it's like now you're charging who knows how much, right? Like
Yeah.
like $5,000-$10,000 a video, right? It takes time, right?
Yeah, it takes a lot of time. Just with anything that's skill based, like it just takes a lot of time. And I'm still a baby, like I said. Like
Right.
when I hit 5 years, I'm hoping that I'm making like, you know, like 6 figures and shit.
Right.
But and that's not just a hope. That's like a very like realistic number
Yeah.
that I'm thinking of in my head. It's not just me dreaming or nothing.
Oh, it's just staying focused, you know, and like
Yeah.
you said, what do you have to do to get to that point, right?
Yeah.
Like you know, put the extra hours in, right? You know, like you said, you're chasing like your new, you know, networking, right?
Mhm.
Trying to get famous people, a little bit, people with you know, more following, right, to get that name out,
Yeah.
and you know, sooner or later, it's gonna come, you know.
Yeah.
You know, so hopefully it's quicker than sooner, and you'll see like, just putting all your work into it, staying focused, you'll see that you find yourself there quicker than, or just accidentally, right? You turn around, next thing you know, it's like, oh shit, I'm already here, right?